All right, let's talk about Bitcoin. Well, I want to start with Mike Novogratz. He's a billionaire hedge fund or runs billion-dollar hedge funds. And let's just take a quick listen to this.
Bitcoin represents the kind of benchmark or bellwether that all this collective energy is showing up in. Because these are new buyers, and it's the easiest thing for them to buy. And so I would tell you that for the next 6 months, if you were purely short term, Bitcoin's a pretty easy bet. It's going higher and much higher. There's going to be volatility. There's a fork coming in mid-November.
So, I'm going to talk a little bit about Bitcoin and how, the technology is not the best. It's probably not going to be used for payments anytime, maybe ever. But it is a store of value, and as Mike Novogratz is saying here, it's the gateway drug. It's the front door. So right now, Wall Street is lining up, and their attitude is sort of, well, put 1%, 3%, 5% of your assets into crypto assets. What are we going to buy? Well, you have to start with Bitcoin, because when you dig into cryptocurrency, you'll start to like a lot of coins, a lot of projects, a lot of platforms, a lot better than Bitcoin. It was the first, it's the oldest, and in a way that makes it great. It also makes it the oldest technology. So, but this idea that herd is coming. Most people on Wall Street don't own any, and firms that have a lot of money don't have any, and so Mike Novogratz is saying, this thing is going to go up, and he even points to it might be short term because a lot of us don't believe in the long term story on Bitcoin itself. But for the next 6 months, the price may be great. Now let's take a look at that here. This is not even that long term. This is 2013, July 2013. The market cap of cryptocurrencies. The orange is Bitcoin. So this is in July 2013. Bitcoin was 95% of all the value of all the coins. And look at what happened this year. This was the altcoin, as they call it, altcoin rally. And Bitcoin plummeted to 40% of market cap. It's had a great rally back to 60. I like I'll talk about some of the, in my other videos. I love Ethereum. I love Stellar Networks. I'm not, I don't want to try to predict where this is going to go, but I'm not a huge Bitcoin believer long term. I'll get into why in a little bit here. But you can see that it has been on a decline, had a rally back, and, we'll see what happens here. Let's get into the details a little bit about Bitcoin. So here's a long-term chart. So this link here, BitInfo Charts, has a lot of data. I'm looking here at, let me scroll a little bit so you can see this. Why is that not moving? Can I not scroll this screen? Shoot. Okay. Well, anyways, here you can see what I'm looking at, which is transactions. Why did I just lose? I'm sorry. Let's try that again. Okay. All right. So we're looking at transactions over time, and you see it grow and grow, but really this is all time. This is 2009 when it was invented. Great. But now let's look at in the last year. Pretty flat. Say 300. And compare this to Ethereum. Right? Look at the cross here, and then now shooting up. Look at this. If we go all time, it really, it starts to look like it's breaking out. So this is the thing, sort of Bitcoin's problem with its technology. It is the slowest. It is so let's look at speed. So on this side, that's transactions. So you see Bitcoin's transactions are flat. Let's look at where's speed here? Sorry. Okay, block time. And let's do 3 months. And you can see here, it's the average block time. That it's sort of It's 10 minutes to get one confirmation, and you need several confirmations to confirm, to really be faithful. If you go to Starbucks and you want to send money, you're not going to wait. I think the magic number is 10 seconds. So they're at 10 minutes, and Bitcoin has a sort of, I shouldn't say there's no plan for scaling, but compared to what you see with other coins, we'll talk about Ethereum, the roadmap for scaling is detailed and intense with an amazing team working together. Bitcoin is a bunch of communities fighting, and it took them 2 years to do the SegWit upgrade, which sort of didn't do anything for speed. I mean, look at it here. Let's see if we go a little further back. I can't remember the exact date of the SegWit upgrade. It was sometime here in the summer, but you can see Bitcoin has not gotten any faster. Now, and compared to, let's just to show you here, Ethereum, they just had a hard fork. The team worked together. They have a roadmap. They implement the fork, and look at what happens to speed. It drops. And keep in mind, here we're looking at, this is 0.25 minutes versus Bitcoin, which is at 10 minutes. Okay, here's look comparing Ethereum. So, when it comes to speed, Bitcoin is really the worst. And when it comes to fees, let's look at average transaction fee. Okay. When they had, let's see, they had the upgrade here in the summer and fees came down a little bit, but guess what? I mean, this boom here, they've gone back up, and still it's at $6 for a transaction. Now, compared to wire transfer between crazy countries, maybe that's cheap. But again, let's just to look at Ethereum. Ethereum isn't even the least expensive, but it's at $0.3. I mean, 30 cents, under 30 cents per transaction. That's a pretty big difference. So, if you get under the hood and you start looking at the technology, you see that Bitcoin sort of has the worst technology and a team that, I mean, I don't even know that you could say that there is a team on Bitcoin. That's why there've been all these forks. There's a group of people who actually want to get stuff done. You can't get it done in Bitcoin, so they fork off and create their own project, which may or may not be successful. But I think the reason for all the forks is people feel the only way to make progress is to sort of, not be in Bitcoin. Now, on the other hand, there is an advantage. Bitcoin's going for the gold. We are Bitcoin Gold, right? Sorry, one of the new coins is actually called Bitcoin Gold. But people are saying that Bitcoin is digital gold, and you don't spend gold. Gold is something something that is old that we trust, and so in a way, Bitcoin is getting that definition. And so in a sense, just like gold itself is heavy and not really usable, but we trust it because it's old and trusted around the world. Similarly with Bitcoin, it's too slow and clunky to really use, but if you just want to store your money there, and know that it's going to be exchangeable, one of the advantages on Bitcoin is it is in every exchange. If you want to move money around between different exchanges, Bitcoin's usually the best option. When you get these other coins, they're not available at different exchanges. When you start sending some altcoin all over the, from one exchange to another, it can be really tricky. Usually, if you want to move money around, you have to convert it into Bitcoin to move it around. So now that Ethereum is becoming easier and sort of available everywhere, and that advantage may not last forever for Bitcoin, but Bitcoin is the digital gold. Now, so people say, so there's a couple things with digital gold. First of all, let's just keep in mind here. I just got a little chart here. This is from 2005. Gold and 2000, or it says here 2004, which I guess was Google's IPO. And remember, Gold had a huge rally. This is before the big gold rally. But the bottom line here is that Google outperformed gold a lot. So a lot of people, I like to remind people that yes, there's nothing wrong. In fact, I recommend, 5, 10% of your portfolio in gold is what I used to say. Now it's maybe 5 to 10% of your crypto portfolio in digital gold, which is Bitcoin. And because if you're able to pick a winning company, if you're able to pick the next Google in crypto or the next Amazon in crypto, those are going to greatly outperform the digital gold. Just as Google has outperformed regular gold, I believe in the very long term, Ethereum will outperform Bitcoin because Ethereum is a platform. Ethereum, I'm hoping, is the next Google, the next Amazon, next Tesla sort of success story, which I think will outperform gold itself. So the main point I wanna stress here as we build our cryptocurrency portfolio is Bitcoin, in a sense, has to be part of your portfolio because you're going to need it to move money around. We're going to buy some Bitcoin. Think of it simply as gold. Think of it as just 5 to 10% of your portfolio. And if you start digging under the hood into how all of these currencies work, and you start seeing how crappy the Bitcoin technology is, don't immediately just dump all your Bitcoin because of that. That's already well known by most people. So let's see. Okay, so I'm making other videos about the other coins, and then regarding Bitcoin, where to go and buy it and where to store it. We're gonna get to that. If you like my content here, please let Ty know you want more crypto from Dave. For more info on the latest on whatever I'm doing, you can always go to davelevine.com, DAVELEVINE.com. I'll update the latest on what I'm doing. And I also have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/davelevine.com, where I got a lot more info on other coins and cryptocurrency news and what's happening. And that's about it. So good luck, and see you in another video.